Well, good morning, visionaries. It's Julieann Hartman, and I'm so excited to spend the morning with you. I've got a great teaching, but before we start, I do want to let you know that we've decided to involve everyone in our Q&A. Now, we have a Protegé program, which usually that's the only subscribers that get to hear get to be a part of the Q&A. But we decided, because we just love everybody and I don't want to keep anybody out of, being able to ask a question or, wanting to just, hang out with us and talk. So we're opening it up to everyone. So now that is August 31st, which is Tuesday. And we will be live at 5 p.m. So you want to be able to get on with us so you can ask us anything and we will answer. As a matter of fact, if you want to even ask a question start thinking of your questions now. Because sometimes when we are like in the moment, we're not thinking, oh shoot, what's my question? What would I ask? But like when you're not thinking about it, sometimes that's the best time to just write down your questions, because you're like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm relaxed right now. I actually have a question for them. Please do it. We really want to hear from you. It'll be a lot of fun. Again, 5 p.m. Pacific time. You can do the math across the board for Central, Mountain, and for Eastern. So today we want to talk about imagination, which is, oh my God, do we need imagination so that we can set goals, right? So that we can attain the goals, and so that we don't just procrastinate all the time and not get to our goals. When we don't attain goals, it's really hard for us sometimes to live with ourselves about that. So what we do is we just completely ignore it and make like it doesn't exist and it'll just go away. And that is so true. And I hate the fact that that does happen, but it does. Because when we sometimes feel like, oh dang, I should have stuck with that. I had a vision board on the wall and I just ended up, throwing darts at it every day. Or I just ended up looking at it, but I didn't do anything with it. I know that's frustrating. And I know that you feel bad about that, because I know that if you're watching Vision Possible, that you are literally trying to be successful. You're at least going to try to head that direction. But I got news for you today. You're doing more than trying. You are there. You are going in that direction because you have logged on. You're watching Vision Possible. You have made a decision that you're going to be successful no matter what. So think about it. So what's hard is that, in a world that we live in right now, it's crazy. It's like you got to find a place where you can go so that you can use your imagination. And for me, I go on a walk every morning. That's when my imagination comes alive. That's my prayer walk, my time with the Lord, that we just talk about everything. And then I get downloads and I put them on my phone. And then by the time I get home, I can, look at them and be like, okay, I'm going to move towards this. That's where we're going with this. And, then I start making my plans. But I don't know what your place is, but you got to find one. That is for sure. You really got to find one, because that is where your peace is. That is where you are able to settle your mind and not be distracted by every little thing. And come on, guys, let's face it. This world everything is trying to distract us. For sure. That is for real, visionaries. Think about it. If you're not on your phone, just literally vegging out and just scrolling on Facebook or Instagram and looking at everybody else's life, then you might be watching the news and you're hearing just horrific stories. And gosh, it's like it's in the news one day and it's out the next, but you're still disturbed by what you just saw or heard. And you're trying to recover, and then they're already on to these stories over here. So you really need to watch what you're watching and what you're listening to. That is for sure. Pay attention to it, because you do not want to just waste your time with being on social media for no reason. I understand that if you want to, you need to do this. You need to give yourself an alarm, like set an alarm on your phone and say, okay, fine, I'm only going to do this for like 10 minutes. Maybe it's 10 minutes 3 times a day or something like that. That means 20 minutes. But then after you're done with everything, you can do whatever you want on your phone. But until you're done with everything, you got to really be disciplined. Because how are you going to imagine yourself in the position that you're looking for, in the job that you're looking for, or for the company that you want to start? How can you imagine all those things when you're so distracted by everything that you have no time to set time for yourself to even start mapping out goals? You really don't. And then what comes along with that is major procrastination. Oh God. I told you guys before in earlier teachings, you can go back a couple months and find that. But procrastination, man, it was Julieann, instead of my middle name, I don't have one. But if I did, it would be Julieann Procrastination Hartman. So it would be Julieann P. Hartman. But I had to learn how to get over that, because I know, and I will tell you this for sure, if I was going to remain a person who procrastinates, I would have not moved forward in my life. Would not have. I can guarantee you that. I would not be doing the things that I am today. I know that for sure. And, you know, one major reason why we procrastinate is because we don't really have a clear view of what we're doing. We don't have a clear vision of what it is that we're doing. So what is that clear vision? Like, you need to write it down. We've said to you many times, take whatever that vision is, write it down on paper, on tablets, make it clean and clear so that he who reads it will run with it. That is super important. You've got to do that. You've got to schedule times in your day and put it on your calendar for certain tasks that are going to keep you on task. It's going to keep you on schedule. Schedule whatever it is that you need to do during the day. Put it on your calendar so that you are always, that you're hitting your timeline. You're hitting your goals on a daily basis. And let's face it, I mean, I don't know, I don't use apps for that, but I know there are apps, like there's schedule keeping apps, as far as like, you know, it may not just be like a meeting, because I mean, we all have like Google Calendar and stuff like that. But I'm talking like, is there an app that, you know, schedules all of your little things, you know, a phone call here, or, you know, it's like, for instance, you know, I run businesses. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I have a lot of things to do. But I need a plumber at my house right now. Not an emergency, but I just need to get a plumber here to do some maintenance. Well, I mean, I put it off for about a week only because I was going to be traveling, and I ended up not traveling. So I made the appointment, and, you know, I got to put that on some kind of calendar because it's going to affect my day tomorrow. They're coming tomorrow. So I've got to put that somewhere so that I can have it on my calendar, so that I can be, you know, scheduling it so I'm not double booking myself. Again, these are all things that are really important, but a schedule on a calendar, a task schedule is really important. What do I need to do? And then also too, lack of organization that's a tough one. I really don't see how anything that you do could be successful when it's unorganized. Let's say that you want to get investors in your projects. Well, for me, I am an investor. I want to see how you run your organization. I want to see how it goes. I want to see how organized you are. Because if you're not organized with the money that we've given you to, you know, invest in whatever it is you're doing, how do I know you're going to be organized in the actual thing that you're doing? That's really good. That alone is worth a lot of money. I just want you to know that. That's really important to know that. You know, if you don't need investors, that's fine. But still, you know, if I'm a customer and I'm looking at what you're doing, I'm going to look at it and see, are you organized? That's like my pet peeve, I have to tell you. Definitely is. I like to see people organized. I want to see their paperwork is organized. I want to see Their schedules are organized. And I know that there's always like, that exception to the rule. Totally get it. There's always that day where you're like, oh my gosh, well, now what we do is we do maintenance in our house to do what they call hydrojetting the main line, because 3 times we've had a stop up. As you can see, we've got these beautiful trees, right? They're called pepper trees. Well, their roots are destructive. And so they got into the pipes. And so we're having to do this hydroblast. It's like 2,500 cc's or whatever it's called. I don't even know. But that's how fast and hard it's going to travel through those pipes. We just did it 2 months ago, but we made a decision that every 2 months we would have this main pipe hydrojetted, because we will never go through what we go through. As I'm looking right now, we have like a little gym in the house. Well, that's what gets flooded with sewer. That's disgusting, but that's what happens. And so anyway, that's something that I've got to be organized about, because I need to make sure that is not, throwing me off, because the last time this happened, it threw everything off. And so what I was saying is, before I said all that, was I was giving you an example of what it would look like sometimes when things just happen, and they do. I run a very tight schedule all day long. So some days I'm like, I do not have time for any mistakes, like of any interruption besides what I'm doing, because I just don't. And then there are days where I don't, but if something were to come up, I'm going to have to make arrangements for it. I mean, that's just what happens. But anyway, so being organized is really important. I hope you can really take that in, because that is super important. I just don't work well with things that are all over the place. I just don't. Then the next thing is on my list is the need for perfection. Now that'll mess up any timeline, because we're trying to make it so perfect that we are now spending too much time on maybe something very small when we could be streamlining. And that happens. So you got to watch the perfectionism. I get it. That's me. But I've had to really learn how to take it down big time. It hurts. It doesn't hurt anybody else. Well, it does actually. It hurts everybody else, because whoever you have working with you, that we are on a schedule. We got to get things done. Blah 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 blah. But it really hurts you the most, because you're the one that's in charge of all of that. So if you, like I said, another thing, if you can just really watch the perfectionism, because that is a showstopper. It's a progress stopper, because we're so focused on so many things that have to be perfect that actually maybe as the project gets down the line, it can become more perfect, not just perfect from the very beginning. I get it. Like I said, that's just me. I understand, because I really love, I love getting, I just love perfectionism. I know that sounds crazy. And trust me, guys, it's not easy at times, because we're expecting so much, and sometimes we just can't get the delivery of the things that we're expecting. So we got to be careful about that. Watch the perfectionism. All right. And then I've got another thing here too. The unrealistic to-do list of things to do, I was going to say. The unrealistic, really now, what is realistic for you to do? As far as, can you get everything done in that day? Can you get everything done in those couple hours? I'm guilty of this. I try to see how much I can shove in one day just to prove to myself that I can do. No, I'm kidding. I don't actually do. It's not that bad. But I will sometimes just okay, I know I could fit one more thing in. I really want to see this person. I really want to talk to this person on the phone. I really need to get, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, overextended. It was an unrealistic to-do list. So don't put yourself through that. It's not worth it at all. It's not worth it. And it just exhausts you. It frustrates you because you can't get the things done that you really want to get done. And you start frustrating the people around you because they're like, man, I thought you said you could meet. And you're like, well, I was going to, but I scheduled 2 things at once. It's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. Those are the things that get us. And so I'm just telling you from my own experience, don't do it. It's too much. It's too much of a hassle. It's not necessary whatsoever. Definitely, it is not necessary to do that to yourself. So when you are letting your imagination just go and flow, right? Are you writing it down on something? That's really important that you get yourself either a dry erase board or you get yourself a some kind of a poster. And what we do is we take Postits and we put categories, titles, and then we use Postits to put in those categories. And that really helps because then we see, and what's great too is that not only do we put them in their categories of the things that we need to do under those certain categories, but then we start putting a timeline to it. Like, section A has to be done by, October 12th. Section B has to be done by November 21st. Like that, like putting a date on things so that you have something to work towards. I'm not saying that you have to stick with it, but it really does help when you have a date for something that you really was like, okay, I'm going to put a date down because I need to work towards something. Or you will do what? You will procrastinate if you don't have a date. If you don't have a date that you're working towards, you're going to procrastinate. Trust me. I know. That's why I put dates on everything. I want to know that I can get it done in that amount of time with the resources that I have and the people that I have. That's what I do. Now, I'm not saying you got to be me, but I am saying, though, it does really help. So, what do you think about all of this? I know it was kind of a whirlwind, but I want you to imagine. I want you to be goal attaining in your life, and I want you to have, a timeline of when you're going to get all these things done, because that's important. So you have imagination, you have your goals, and you have your timeline. I can't think of anything else that you would need to get yourself going today. It's exciting, isn't it? So don't forget, we have the Q&A, which is open to everyone, starting Tuesday, August 31st at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And I will see you there. I am so excited. And I think you'll see some posts where you can actually go on and send your questions in if you'd like to. It'll be on Facebook, on our Vision Possible Facebook. So you can go on there and look and see what that email address is so that you can email your questions or save them up, put them on your phone. I do that. I text myself. And then when it's time, you just ask the question right online. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. We love you. We are so proud of you. And we believe in you, right? We believe in you. So thank you guys so much for listening.